Good morning. Here I go with my hair. Good morning, good morning. Oh, sorry about the unstableness. Good morning. Sorry, my eyes watering a little bit. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. I am playing Amazing by Hezekiah Walker. And the song is reminding the hearer, the listener, of how amazing God is. And what I appreciate amazing. That's all the chorus says, is that, oh, you are amazing. So amazing. Good morning, Art. God is amazing. God is amazing. And sometimes we just have to say to God, God, you are amazing. God, you're awesome. God, you are powerful. You are amazing, God. Yes. Good morning. This is Pastor Lisette of Restoration Fellowship. I'm so glad that you are joining me this morning, and that those who will watch this later on this week or later on today, so glad you can be a part of our Talk About It Tuesday mornings, 8 a.m. I have enjoyed doing Talk About It Tuesday. So glad to hear from many people about how much they've enjoyed Talk About It Tuesday. And so I, in the good gospel tradition of Christian music, played You're Amazing. And I titled today's Talk About It Tuesday that God is amazing and so are you. And the song that I played by Hezekiah Walker called Amazing is what would be considered a praise and worship song, a praise song, a song that gives praise and admiration and our attention and our affection to God, right? So just to teach for a quick moment this morning. So the idea of theology being the study of God, theology is also what the process we engage, the things that we do on a moment by moment, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis to make sense of God. So in essence, theology is meaning making in the world. And one of the things that gospel music does is it allows us to understand ways to make meaning of God's actions in our life. And so the singer in the song Amazing by Hezekiah Walker helps us understand that God is amazing when God provides for our needs, when God allows us to see a sunrise, when God puts food on our table and clothes on our backs, that God is amazing, right? So that helps us understand that God is both this wonderful, great, amazing entity, being, spirit that we may not ever comprehend with our minds, but God is also that feet on ground, that hands involved in the daily workings of our lives. And so it is the same God that created heaven and earth that also provides your meals, right? This is the same God that when you needed support, that God sent you a friend to talk to. This is the same God where you needed a miracle. You didn't know how you were going to get that job, or you didn't know how you were going to make ends meet, but you magically, what seems like just amazingly, provision was made, and you were able to pay that bill, or you were able to go to school, or you were able to get that job, or you were able to feel better. You were able to do the things that you never thought you would be able to do because God was working in your life. God is working in your life. And so this idea that God is amazing is a process of our theologizing, of our making meaning of the great divine, the great spirit that governs our lives. And so I wanted to talk about today how God is amazing in your life. Now, let me say this. One of the reasons that I wanted to talk about God being amazing is because we have, in this past week, we have dealt with some challenging things in the news and in our social landscape. We know that 45 has put a ban on transgender persons serving in the military. And for those of us that affirm and stand in community with our transgender brothers, sisters, and siblings, that was sad. It was a devastating blow to what we believe our government should be doing, and that is protecting all of our rights, right? The idea that trans rights are human rights, and that as a human being in America that is an American citizen, all of us should have the opportunity and the privilege to serve in our military, regardless of our gender identity, regardless of our sexual orientation, right? That we have heard about people being killed, that we have to continue to be subjected to this craziness in the White House with the communications director being fired. That I know in Richmond there was an article about homeless youth and the increasing number that cannot be tracked. And so there's this way that we're recognizing in the news and in the social landscape of all of the bad things that are going on. And then don't let me start talking about our personal lives. When we have family members who are sick, when we have relationships that are going bad, when we have our personal self-doubts, when we are wrestling with our own mental illnesses, when we are struggling to make ends meet, when we are trying to figure out how to do that next thing, how to fulfill our dreams, how to live as good, abiding persons in the world, people who are kind and loving and helpful to others, who know how to be a sister or a brother or a sibling in community, right? That living life is hard. The reality that God is amazing does not negate that sometimes I have bad things that happen in my life. It also doesn't take away from the fact that you are amazing because of the concept and the idea of the Imago Dei. The Imago Dei says that you and I and we are created in the image of God. And so if God is amazing, my dear friend, my beloved, you too are amazing. The challenge is sometimes many of us have heard, sometimes from the church, over and over again, that we are not amazing, that we are less than, that who we love is not right, how we act is not right, what we believe is not right, that the church and religious folk somehow can always tell us the ways that we are not amazing and the ways that we are antithetical to God, that we are opposite to God, that there is nothing good that could come from us. But I'm here to tell you, Pastor Lisette, a real pastor, a real clergy person, somebody that has a little bit of education, I'm here to tell you that God is amazing, and so are you. And your amazingness is not dictated or changed by your life situations. Recognizing that God being amazing is not changed by your life situations. Remember that today, and I encourage you, just as I think I'm going to practice today myself, talk about the ways that you are amazing. How do you show up in the world amazing? How are you being your full authentic self in the world, which in and of itself is amazing? How are you living out your purpose, living out your dream? How are you going to your job every day, or going to your commitments throughout the day, remembering that you are amazing, you're awesome, you are funny, and you are kind, and you are loving, and you know what? All of that is true even when you are going through a tough time. Even when you don't know how your situation is going to get better. The amazing God that created an amazing you is still working in your situation. And so today, I'm encouraging you for Talk About It Tuesday to talk about the ways that, one, God is amazing. And we know that through creation. We know that through our personal lives. We know that through the books we read, the amazing quotes we see, the inspirational songs we listen to, that God is amazing. Two, that you are amazing. You are amazing because, number one, you're here. You're created in God's image, and therefore you got to be amazing, right? And that in your amazing self, you still have hard days, and you still have challenges to overcome, and you still have past to wrestle with, and you still have hopes and dreams to fulfill. And that just because you have a bad day, just because you're sad, or someone has hurt you, or you're trying to figure out how to make things work out, does not take away from the fact that you are amazing. So talk about it today. Talk about the ways that God is amazing, and talk about the ways that you are amazing. And for those of us out there who can't, because of our situations, because of how sad we may feel, because of how dark the day may seem, for those of us that can't seem to muster up the thoughts or the positive words to say, give yourself some grace today. That even if you cannot identify ways that God is amazing and that you are amazing, just say, I'm okay today. And I'm going to try to be okay today. Because you are amazing. God is amazing. And I recognize, we just did a panel on faith and mental health on Sunday. You should check it out on our Facebook page, Restoration Fellowship RVA Facebook page. Check out the panel and talk about the reality that our faith and our spirituality really works hand in hand with our mental health. It really does allow us to make sense of feeling sad and feeling blue and feeling down and feeling depressed and going through mental illnesses and diagnoses. And so we recognize that as a church, as a faith community, we recognize that and want to remind you of that, okay? And not to make light of the reality that we deal. Some of us deal with mental illness every day, and it's okay. It doesn't take away the fact that God is amazing and that you are amazing. So talk about it today. Find ways to look at how amazing God is, to reflect on the ways that God has shown up in your life and been amazing. And then look at the way that you are amazing, that you uniquely show up in the world as your full authentic self. And that is amazing. Now, I probably have said amazing 100 or more times during this Talk About It Tuesday, but it is so important from my heart today that you realize that that the amazingness of God is also reflected in you. And if it's reflected in you, then it's reflected in others, and that we can go about our day remembering that God is amazing. I am Pastor Lisette of Restoration Fellowship, RVA. We worship on Sundays at 3 p.m. at 1407 Sherwood Avenue, which is Diversity Richmond. You enter through event door number 4, pink door number 4, in the parking lot. Sundays, we do corporate prayer or open community prayer at 2:30 p.m. And then we are doing a summer of Bible study. So we invite you to join us for Bible study at 3 p.m. August, we are going to talk about what does it mean to be a prophet? What is prophetic in the 21st century? We're going to look at some of the texts, the biblical Old Testament texts that talk about prophets such as Jeremiah and Isaiah and Ezekiel, some of the folks that stood and spoke hard truth to their situations, and how that encourages us today. So I'm looking forward to that Bible study this month. And then what else do I want to remind you? We are still on sabbatical for our Thursday night calls. We will resume that back in September. Summertime has proven to be very active, and so it's been good to rest from praying every Thursday. That doesn't mean we're not praying for you, but we will resume our community prayer calls on Thursday starting in September. So and then Tuesday, I'm trying to remember if there's anything else. And then Tuesday, of course, I'm here 8 a.m. for Talk About It Tuesday. We ask that you follow us on Instagram, that you like our Facebook page, that you get your friends to like our Facebook page, because we are a church doing church differently here in Richmond, Virginia. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I hope you have an amazing day, because I had to get amazing in there one last time. Well, 2 last times, because I'm going to say this as I say goodbye to you and your awesome day, that God is amazing, and so are you. Don't forget that. I'm Pastor Lisette, Restoration Fellowship. Have an awesome day.